Good question. Okay, so here's a question. Which bioness are you considering using?
I'm not even sure. I don't know enough about it. I
Okay,
think it's just to eliminate the foot drop.
Hey everyone, my name is Dr. Nick Halsey with Motus Nova. I'm a licensed neurophysical therapist and neuroscientist helping brain injury survivors understand how to make functional gains after their injury. I hope this video helps you in your recovery.
hey Elijah, how are you?
Good. Can you see me?
I can see you. I can see you and I can hear you loud and clear. Very good.
I'm back.
There he is.
You're back. Excellent. So, very good. Would you mind reminding everyone who you are, where you're calling from?
Okay. So on June 23rd of 2018, I found out that I was really bad at riding motorcycles. So traumatic brain injury, pretty severe. Went into the coma, did that thing for a while, and then went through inpatient therapy at a couple of different nursing homes, and then they kind of stopped providing that therapy that I really needed. So because insurance stopped paying for it after 6 months, they kind of expected me just to fill a bed space, and that's not really who I am. So I found Oshner, and Oshner really, for some reason, even though I was in an inpatient facility that offered rehabilitation, I was still able to get outpatient therapy over at Oshner. So then the cool thing about Oshner is that I went like through the nursing home system. They just wanted to get my right side, my unaffected side, even stronger, so it could do all the work. And I was non-weight bearing on my left side for a long time. And then finally, over at Oshner, they were like, no, what we need to do is get your left side as strong as your right side. And it just blew my mind. I'm like, finally, somebody who gets it. I want to work out all the time. I feel like I can get back to where I was, and I'm not going to let anybody stop me. It's going to happen. And here I am. I started using the Motus hand a couple of weeks ago, and I really like that.
Excellent. What a wonderful backstory, and thank you so much again for reminding me and for letting everyone else know here. I mean, I think it's always good to share experiences. It's can be very, very helpful. So Elijah, we were chatting just briefly before we came on live today, and you had some questions for me, and I am eagerly anticipating those questions. So what you got? What can I do to be helpful for you today?
Okay, I had some notes wrote down because my memory is still not good.
Okay. Me too. I rely on notes. I got notepads everywhere, so I'm in the same boat as you.
Yeah,
so.
I really do. They're all placed around my room, just kind of like grab bars and stuff like that. I have everything kind of like strategically placed. Like here's a grab bar just attached to my bed. Just anything that works. Same with notepads.
Sure.
So I wanted to start off by so I did the reevaluation today at therapy for OT, and I was kind of hyped because I was doing a lot of work beforehand, and I think that I just made myself tighter. They said that they finally had the Bioness rep in, and they were taught how to use the Bioness, and so my PT was saying how she wants to start using that on me, probably in the next couple of sessions. But I have a history of seizures. Now, is that something I have to worry about?
Hey, if you're finding this video helpful, please hit like and subscribe to help other brain injury survivors learn how Motus Nova is changing neuro-rehab.
Like if I was using advice by Myomo or something like this, like by Bioness, is it going to trigger something? Should I avoid it?
Good question. Okay, so here's a question. Which Bioness are you considering using?
I'm not even sure. I don't know enough about it. I think it's just to eliminate the foot drop.
Okay. Yeah. So when you look at the complications associated with NMES devices or FES devices, FES being functional electrical stimulation, that's the acronym, FES, or NMES, neuromuscular electrical stimulation devices. Very, very similar systems. They rely on exogenous electrical stimulation delivered through electrode pads to the surface of your skin in most cases. And those things are generally conditioned on one of two things. Either it's a therapist saying, I want you to work on contracting this muscle, which is what NMES is, right? They do this for strength training for individuals with spinal cord injuries, or FES systems, which is more along the lines of what a BioNest is. And so this is designed to help improve functional tasks, such as walking, foot drop, these sorts of things. So the reason I asked about which one is proximity matters specifically. So lower extremity, very little evidence, if any evidence, any real, let's say objective evidence, that it's going to be associated with seizures. Okay, that's not to say it's a zero probability, right? I'd say generally, if the physicians and providers are not concerned, if there's no direct contraindication, I would tend to believe them. But if you look at the evidence, if you look at the scientific evidence, there's very little sort of suggestion that a lower extremity FES orthosis, which is what this is, would be contributing to additional sort of seizure activity. So that would be the kind of baseline. I think as you start to get progressively closer to the site at which you have problems, that tends to increase the probability. Now, we're still talking about very, very low levels of current, right? And we're still talking about very, very low probability events, but it becomes potentially less close to zero. So for instance, people with cardiac pacemakers, it's generally contraindicated to have strong electrical stimulation devices in the upper extremity, simply because where the leads go and where the battery packs are, right? You can imagine the proximity there much closer, right? Because the actual battery pack is maybe subclavicular, kind of below our clavicle here, kind of our bones that go across. And the actual electrodes are close to the heart, on the heart, exactly, right? And so that proximity could potentially be problematic, and they generally have contraindications for that. Now, there's a lot between your upper extremity and your cortical structures where the actual seizure events are generally occurring, those ectopic loci. It's a fancy word for saying adverse sort of electrical activity. So it's unlikely to cause problems, but generally speaking, I don't want to sort of say it's a definitive. So that would be the general statement. I think lower extremity, you're probably fine.
I mean, even with that, like, because when I was in the nursing homes in the beginning, they were using eStim on me on a daily basis.
Yep.
And during that time, I mean, I didn't see any direct correlation. Like, it wasn't like they put the tags on me and immediately that happened.
Yeah.
But I was having a lot more seizures during that time, and they had no problem with just putting stickers on me.
Yeah. So I think the other thing too to mention, Elijah, too, is that especially if you're on that process of in the rather acute stage where a lot of things are changing, and you're also going from not doing a whole lot of rehab to a lot of rehab, what can happen is those activities, by nature of you being up and moving, these sorts of things, the general excitability of your system gets elevated. And under those conditions, those are more sort of probable of inducing seizure activity. So it could just be what's called coincidence, right? Again, not saying that we know definitively, but I'd say it's a very, very low probability event that's going to cause those problems to occur. I think it's much more likely to be just natural progression of your recovery, your TBI, in addition to the intense rehabilitation exercises, which can cause changes in excitability, which can then cause those things to kind of interact. I say that's much more likely to be contributing to that.
Okay.
And then also too, if any sort of drugs that you're taking as well, a lot of those drugs can be excitability modifying things as well, especially as you're coming out of the TBI. They will oftentimes do specific medications to cause excitability, and those things can have some adverse effects as well.
Thanks for watching this video. If you have questions or would like to speak with me about how you can make functional gains from home, call or text me at 404-939-3476 or visit motusnova.com/contact.